everyone, welcome to SideQuest English, the podcast where we step away from the boring textbooks to explore fascinating topics, one random deep dive at a time. So, what if I told you that buying a boring everyday mattress could actually bring you more lasting joy than a 2-week luxury vacation to Hawaii?
I mean, it sounds completely backwards.
Right, it totally does. But today, we are taking on a topic that affects every single one of us, literally every day. And we are going to challenge some of the most common advice out there. We are diving into the fascinating world of our money.
Yeah, and it is a topic that carries a lot of emotional weight for people because money represents our time, our security, and, our choices.
Exactly.
And to really unpack this, we have gathered a pretty substantial stack of sources for you. We are looking at academic studies on human happiness from places like UT Austin and the University of Toronto.
Some heavy hitters.
Definitely. And we also have reports from Age UK and the Payment Choice Alliance about the rapidly changing reality of digital money. Plus, to tie it all together, we're bringing in insights from financial experts like Morgan Housel, along with some really practical everyday wisdom from users on Reddit.
So whether you are, trying to figure out how to save up for a dream vacation, or maybe you are wondering why you always seem to overspend when you use your phone to pay at the grocery store, or maybe you just want to feel more secure about your financial future. This deep dive is designed entirely for you.
Yeah, we really want to give you those aha moments.
Right. We want to look under the hood and understand the mechanics of why we act the way we do with our cash. And we are going to do it all using clear B1-B2 level English. So no confusing financial jargon.
Exactly. No confusing terms. We want to focus on the why and the how behind our financial behaviors, not just the what's. And I think the best place to start is with the most enjoyable and sometimes the most stressful part of money, which is spending it.
I love spending it. Let's get right into it. So if buying a mattress might be better than a Hawaiian vacation, we have to start by asking the biggest question of all. What actually buys happiness?
It's the million-dollar question, literally.
Yeah, literally. And for a very long time, the traditional advice has been incredibly consistent. You hear it everywhere, from financial gurus to lifestyle influencers. The rule is always, spend your money on experiences, not physical things.
Right, that has been the dominant advice for decades. And to be fair, there is very solid, rigorous science backing up that traditional view.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we have a foundational study here from researchers at the University of Texas at Austin, Cornell University, and the University of Pennsylvania. And they wanted to track human happiness in real time. So they followed 2,695 adults using a technique called experience sampling.
Wait, experience sampling. So instead of just asking people at the end of the year, hey, how happy are you? They are checking in with them while they're actually living their lives.
Precisely. Because, human memory is notoriously flawed. If I ask you how happy a purchase made you feel 6 months ago, your brain alters the memory.
Oh, for sure. You look back with rose-colored glasses.
Exactly. So these researchers sent text messages to these adults at random times throughout the day. They asked them about their current emotions and what they had recently bought, and the data was very clear.
What did they find?
Well, regardless of how much the item cost, people consistently reported higher levels of happiness when they were consuming experiences, like eating at a nice restaurant or attending a concert. This was compared to buying material items like jewelry, a new phone, or clothing.
Okay, I have always understood that experiences are great, but I want to dig into the mechanism here. Why does a dinner out, which disappears in 2 hours, feel better in our brains than a new watch, which I can look at every single day for the next 10 years?
It comes down to a deeply ingrained psychological mechanism called hedonic adaptation.
Hedonic adaptation, okay.
Yeah. Think about when you walk into a coffee shop. For the first 2 minutes, the smell of roasted coffee is amazing. It's overwhelming. But if you sit in that shop for an hour, your brain simply stops registering the smell. You adapt to it.
Oh, wow. So you are saying we do the same thing with the stuff we buy?
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
That new watch is incredibly exciting on day one. You look at it constantly. But by day 30, it is just a normal object sitting on your wrist.
It just blends in.
Exactly. Your brain has adapted to its presence, and it no longer provides a spike of dopamine or happiness. It just becomes part of the background of your life. Experiences, on the other hand, are highly resistant to hedonic adaptation because they just don't stick around long enough for us to get used to them.
That makes perfect sense. They happen, they are exciting, and then they are gone.
Right. And importantly, experiences live on in our memories. When you take a great trip, you remember it warmly for years. You talk about it with friends.
You post photos of it.
Yeah. It actually becomes part of your identity. You become a person who has traveled to Japan rather than just a person who owns a nice watch.
Okay, I am going to stop you right there because here's where it gets really interesting. I have always thought that this strict rule, experiences are always better than things, it just feels a bit incomplete.
How so?
Well, I ride a mountain bike. If I buy a new mountain bike, that is very obviously a physical, material object. I have to put air in the tires, I have to store it in my garage, I have to fix the chain. But it is not just sitting on a shelf like a watch. It is literally a machine that creates experiences.
Your intuition is entirely correct on this, and it leads us directly to the plot twist in our sources. We have another study here led by researcher Kristen Duke at the University of Toronto that completely shakes up this traditional idea.
Oh, nice. Validation for the mountain bike.
Definitely. Her research suggests that we have been looking at this the wrong way by treating experiences and material goods as complete opposites.
So they are not just two ends of a single tug-of-war rope.
Not at all. Duke's research argues that a purchase can actually be high in both material qualities and experiential qualities at the exact same time. And her data shows that these mixed purchases items that bridge the gap actually bring people the absolute highest levels of happiness.
That perfectly validates the mountain bike. Or, think about a paddleboard or a camper van.
Yeah.
You get the lasting physical nature of a material good. You own it, you don't have to rent it every time. But to get the value out of it, you have to actively engage with it.
You take the camper out to the woods, you spend time with your family in it, you create those memories.
Exactly.
And the data from the Toronto study mirrors your analogy perfectly. In their first study, they found that a massive 40% of the purchases that brought people the absolute maximum level of happiness were these mixed items.
Really? 40%?
Yeah, they specifically listed things like campers, paddleboards, and smartwatches. You have to physically interact with these objects to extract the joy out of them. They require you to do something, which fights off that hedonic adaptation we talked about earlier.
Okay, so the paddleboard makes sense. It is a physical thing that generates fun. But earlier, I teased the listener with the idea of a mattress bringing more joy than a Hawaiian vacation. How does a mattress fit into this? I mean, a mattress doesn't create a fun memory. You are literally unconscious when you use it.
This is actually the most surprising part of Duke's second study. When they looked at a different set of goods, they found that 43% of the highest happiness purchases were actually high material and very low experiential.
Wait, like what?
We're talking about purely functional items. Things like central air conditioning, high-quality pillows, or, a really fantastic mattress.
Why would a mattress score higher in human happiness than a trip to Paris? That sounds crazy.
Well, because we have to understand the difference between adding peak joy and removing daily pain.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. A trip to Paris adds a massive temporary peak of joy to your life. But a terrible mattress, or a house that is uncomfortably hot in the summer, causes a low level of physical misery every single day.
Oh, wow. I suppose if your back hurts every morning when you wake up, that negative feeling bleeds into your entire day. You are grumpy at work, you have less energy for your family.
Precisely. By buying a great mattress, you are fundamentally raising your baseline of comfort. You are removing daily pain. And the psychology of happiness shows that removing a persistent negative stimulus can actually impact your overall long-term well-being much more than injecting a brief positive stimulus like a vacation.
It is about lasting daily utility.
Exactly.
I love that perspective shift. It really makes you rethink what a good purchase actually is. Now, I want to pivot slightly and look at how different groups of people are applying these ideas in the real world. Let's look at Generation Z.
Yeah, Generation Z is a fascinating demographic to study right now because, honestly, they are navigating a remarkably tough economic landscape.
Let's be honest, they are facing a financial wall. High housing costs make buying a home seem impossible, they are dealing with heavy student debt, and everyday inflation is driving up the cost of groceries.
A lot of pressure.
It is. If you are 24 years old right now, you probably aren't dropping cash on a camper van. So how are they navigating this desire for happiness through spending?
The sources show they are leaning heavily into experiences, just like the traditional advice suggests. But they are doing it in a highly pragmatic, budget-conscious way. They are really restructuring how they consume.
How so?
For example, they are heavily utilizing subscription models for experiences.
Give me an example of that. What does an experiential subscription look like?
Think about an app like ClassPass. Instead of paying a huge lump sum fee to join one luxury gym or paying $25 for a single boutique fitness class, they pay a fixed monthly subscription.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, this gives them access to a huge variety of experiences. Yoga on Tuesday, boxing on Thursday, spinning on Saturday, and it does it while strictly controlling their budget.
That is incredibly smart. It gives them the novelty and the memory creation of an experience, but without the financial anxiety of a massive one-off purchase.
Exactly. Our sources also note that they are big on sharing costs in groups for travel and focusing intensely on local or do-it-yourself experiences.
So staying closer to home.
Right. There is a psychological realization happening that a memorable experience does not have to mean a luxury vacation in another country. It can be organizing a highly unique themed dinner party with friends right in their own small apartment. They are maximizing the social joy while minimizing the financial stress.
And speaking of social joy, there is one more layer to the psychology of spending that we have to talk about. It is the concept of pro-social spending.
Yes, a major study published in PubMed looked deeply into this. Pro-social simply means spending money on other people or on causes rather than on yourself.
Okay.
The researchers found that buying a gift for someone else or donating to a charity provides people with a significant, measurable happiness boost.
Okay, I want to challenge this a little bit. If I have $5 and I really want a coffee, are you telling me that buying a coffee for my friend is going to make me happier than drinking it myself?
Scientifically, yes. But there is a crucial mechanism at play here. The study noted that the size of that happiness boost depends entirely on how engaged you are in the act of giving.
What do you mean by engaged? Like how I pay for it?
More about the interaction. Let's say you see a charity post on social media and you just click a button to donate $20. It is a good deed, but you probably won't feel a massive emotional shift.
Right, it's just a click.
Exactly. However, if you take that $5, buy a coffee for your friend, and then sit down at the table and physically hand it to them while having a conversation, that triggers a completely different neurological response.
Ah, so it is about social connection.
Exactly. We are a deeply social species. When you actively participate in pro-social spending, when you see the smile on their face, when you engage in the charity event in person, your brain releases oxytocin and dopamine.
The physical act of connection is what supercharges the happiness return on that money.
It really is.
So, for you listening right now, take a second and think about your last really big purchase. Was it an experience that faded? Was it a physical item that you got bored of? Or was it one of those mixed items like a paddleboard or a brilliant mattress that continues to improve your life?
It's a great exercise.
And when was the last time you bought a coffee for a friend just to see them smile? It is really worth thinking about the deep why behind what we buy.
It is absolutely essential because understanding the psychology of our purchases is step one. The step two is understanding the actual physical mechanism we use to buy those things.
Which is changing so fast.
Unbelievably fast. The way money fundamentally works in our daily lives is currently changing faster than at any point in human history.
Yeah, if buying a mattress or a camper van is the key to lasting happiness, the next vital question is how we actually pay for it. Because opening a leather wallet and handing over a giant stack of paper cash is rapidly becoming a thing of the past. We are shifting incredibly fast toward a completely cashless society.
And that transition is not just technological, it is deeply psychological. We have a compelling report from researchers Suri and Co. that explains the danger of this shift perfectly. It all comes down to a concept called the pain of paying.
The pain of paying, is that an actual scientific term?
It is, yeah. When you physically hand over a $100 bill, your brain registers a mild form of distress. Neurological studies showed that the insula, a region of the brain associated with physical pain and disgust, actually activates when we spend cash. We physically feel the loss of those resources.
That makes total sense. I remember as a kid saving up my allowance in a jar and then having to physically hand those crumpled bills to a cashier to buy a video game. It hurt. I wanted the game, but I hated seeing my jar empty.
Exactly, you felt the transaction. But when money becomes nothing more than invisible numbers flickering on a digital screen, we lose that tactile reality. Swiping a plastic card or tapping your phone on a scanner is a completely frictionless experience. Yes. It bypasses the brain's pain network entirely. You don't feel the money leaving your hands. And because it is so frictionless, it inevitably leads to overspending.
I see this all the time. I will tap my phone to buy a sandwich, and my brain barely registers that a transaction even occurred. It just feels like magic.
And this psychological disconnect is being heavily exploited by the rise of buy now, pay later services, often referred to as BNPL.
Oh man, I see these everywhere online now. You go to buy a pair of shoes for $100 and it says, just pay $25 today.
Right. They allow you to split a purchase into 4 smaller payments. These companies market themselves as a friendly way to help you budget, but the reality for many consumers is the exact opposite.
It's a trap.
It can be. A recent report from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, investigated these services. They found that over 42% of BNPL users actually ended up paying more money overall than they would have if they just used traditional payment methods.
Wait, how does that happen? If it's just splitting the cost into 4, where is the extra cost coming from? Underlitten fees?
It is partly late fees, yes. But the deeper mechanism is a psychological trap called hyperbolic discounting, or a temporal disconnect.
Break that down for me. What does that mean?
So, when you use buy now, pay later, you completely separate the immediate joy of receiving the new shoes today from the pain of paying for them in the future. Your brain focuses entirely on the $25 you are paying right now, ignoring the $75 you owe later.
Because the immediate pain is so low.
Exactly. Because it's low, you are much more likely to make an impulse purchase.
I see. So you buy the shoes because $25 feels cheap, but then next week you do it again for a jacket, and the next week for a concert ticket.
Precisely. People end up taking on multiple BNPL microloans at the same time. The payments overlap. They quickly lose track of how much of their future paycheck is already spent, and when the money runs out, the late fees start piling up. The frictionless nature of digital money makes it dangerously easy to fall into this trap.
So going cashless removes the natural brakes on our spending. But on the flip side, we can't ignore why this shift is happening. There are massive global forces pushing for a cashless society because the practical benefits are undeniably huge.
They are. According to a study in the International Journal of Science and Research, businesses see incredible operational advantages. Let's look at the popular restaurant chain, Sweetgreen, which experimented with going entirely cashless.
Okay, what did they find?
They found that processing only digital payments allowed their staff to process customer transactions 15% faster.
15% faster might not sound like a lot, but during a busy lunch rush, that means the line moves faster, customers are happier, and the restaurant serves way more people in an hour.
Exactly. It is a massive increase in pure efficiency. Furthermore, digital transactions automatically eliminate human error. An employee cannot accidentally give out the wrong change.
Or drop a coin.
Right. At the end of the night, the manager doesn't have to spend an hour counting a drawer full of dirty bills. And perhaps most importantly for the employees, there is zero risk of cash being stolen in a robbery. If there is no cash in the building is inherently safer.
And the benefits expand far beyond just small businesses. The sources outline a major societal benefit when it comes to fighting large-scale crime.
Yes, cash is entirely anonymous. Digital money is the opposite. Every single transaction leaves a permanent traceable record. This makes illegal activities like major tax evasion, human trafficking, and money laundering incredibly difficult to hide from authorities.
That makes sense.
In fact, governments around the world have actively started eliminating their high-denomination banknotes specifically to stop criminal syndicates.
I saw this in the notes, and it is fascinating. The sources mention that Singapore eliminated their massive $10,000 note, and Sweden got rid of their 10,000 krona note. And when you think about the logistics of crime, it makes perfect sense.
Oh, absolutely.
If you are a criminal cartel trying to secretly move $1 million in illegal drug money, it is relatively easy if you have a stack of $10,000 bills. You can put $1 million in a small briefcase.
But if the government takes away the big bills and you are forced to use small $20 bills, $1 million suddenly weighs 50 pounds and takes up a massive amount of physical space. You need duffel bags and a van just to move it.
It's a huge hassle.
Exactly. Getting rid of high-denomination cash makes organized crime logistically burdensome.
Okay, let's unpack this. If digital money is faster for lunch lines, safer for employees, and helps stop international crime syndicates, why shouldn't we just mandate a completely cashless society tomorrow? What are the actual downsides of leaving paper money behind?
The downsides are profound, and they disproportionately affect our most vulnerable populations. A major report from the Charity Age UK highlights how older generations are being completely and rapidly left behind in this digital transition.
I can imagine. My grandfather still balances his checkbook with a pen and paper every Sunday.
And millions of people are just like him. Many older individuals have used physical cash to budget and manage their daily lives for 70 or 80 years. They have a system that works for them. According to the Age UK data, a staggering 51% of people aged 65 and older do not use internet banking at all.
Over half. That is a massive portion of the population.
It is. And in the United Kingdom alone, the report estimates that around 2.2 million people over the age of 65 would simply not know how to cope in a completely cashless society.
Put that in perspective for me. What does that actually look like on a Tuesday morning for an 80-year-old?
It means total loss of independence. Imagine an 80-year-old woman who walks to her local market every day using exact change from her purse to buy a loaf of bread and a newspaper. It is her social interaction, it is her routine, it is her autonomy.
Right?
If the market suddenly says cards only, and she doesn't have a smartphone or know how to use a banking app, she cannot buy food. She suddenly has to rely on younger relatives or charity volunteers just to survive.
Yeah.
Taking away cash takes away her dignity.
That is heartbreaking. It is basically locking someone out of their own community. And the sources point out it is not just older people in developed countries. On a global scale, the World Bank estimates there are 1.7 billion people who are unbanked, meaning they do not have access to a formal bank account whatsoever.
Exactly. If the global economy goes purely cashless, you're effectively telling 1.7 billion people that they are no longer allowed to participate in commerce. Furthermore, even for those of us who are fully banked and love our smartphone apps, there are severe privacy concerns to consider.
This is the data mining aspect, right?
Yes. When you use cash, your purchase is completely private between you and the merchant. When every single purchase you make is digital, it goes through a corporate server. Tech companies and banks can use data mining to build a massive, incredibly detailed psychological profile on you.
Which is pretty creepy when you think about it.
Very. They know exactly where you travel, what medical supplies you buy, what books you read, and what your political leanings might be based on your spending. You surrender the fundamental anonymity that physical cash provides.
I also want to bring up a critical question about the physical reality of all this technology. Digital money sounds like a utopia of efficiency until it doesn't work. What happens when the internet just breaks?
It is the ultimate vulnerability of a cashless society. And our sources give us terrifying, real-world examples of this nightmare scenario. Recently, a major global IT outage caused by a Microsoft software update completely crashed the payment systems for massive retailers.
I remember that.
Yeah. Customers standing in line at McDonald's or giant grocery chains like Tesco simply could not pay for their food.
Even if they had thousands of dollars in their bank account.
Exactly. The digital system was paralyzed. If they didn't have a $20 bill in their pocket, they had to leave their groceries at the register and walk out empty-handed.
And an IT glitch is just a temporary inconvenience. What about something more serious, like a natural disaster or civil unrest?
The sources outline a very stark example of exactly that. In a town called Balay Hawa in Somalia, a sudden, violent conflict broke out. During the fighting, the telecommunications network was damaged and went entirely offline. Now, Somalia is a country that has heavily embraced mobile money. It is deeply embedded in their local economy.
So what happened when the cell towers went down?
Commerce simply ceased to exist. People desperately needed to buy food, water, and medicine for their families. They had digital currency on their phones, and the merchants had the supplies. But without the network to process the transaction, they were paralyzed.
Wow.
A completely cashless society is 100% dependent on a highly fragile telecommunications infrastructure. When the power goes out, your money disappears.
Which brings us to the fascinating case of Sweden. Sweden is constantly held up by tech enthusiasts as the shining model for the future of money. Cash use there is incredibly low. Only about 18% of consumers say they even want the option to pay by cash. But looking at the sources, it is not the digital paradise it is made out to be.
Not at all. Even in Sweden, which arguably has the best digital infrastructure in the world, there is a fierce and growing pushback. A grassroots movement has formed called the Cash Rebellion, or Kontantuparet in Swedish.
That sounds like a sci-fi movie resistance group. What are they fighting for?
They are actively fighting against the complete loss of physical cash. They are lobbying the government, warning them about exactly what we just discussed: the dangerous digital exclusion of the elderly, the catastrophic risks of cyber attacks from hostile nations shutting down the grid, and the complete erosion of personal privacy.
So they want to keep cash alive.
Exactly. They are demanding that the option to use cash remains protected as a fundamental legal right for all citizens.
So, if we look at the landscape we have covered so far, we have a society where it is incredibly easy to spend money with a frictionless tap of our phones. But those digital systems carry invisible psychological traps like buy now, pay later, and systemic risks like network failures.
It's a minefield.
It really is. Because digital money makes it so easy to accidentally overspend, and because we want to safely save up for those high happiness mixed purchases we talked about earlier, like the camper van or the perfect mattress, we absolutely must build a financial plan to protect ourselves.
That is the perfect connection to make. A robust financial plan is your personal defense mechanism against a world designed to make you spend frictionlessly. And the absolute foundation of any good financial defense is how you manage emergencies.
No one likes thinking about emergencies, but they happen to everyone. What do the experts in our sources say is the first step?
We have a comprehensive report from the investment firm Vanguard that focuses heavily on a financial concept called liquidity.
Okay, define liquidity for us in plain English.
Liquidity simply refers to how easily and quickly you can turn an asset you own into usable cash without losing its value.
Make that real for me.
For example, a house is a highly valuable asset, but it is not liquid. If your car breaks down today, you need money to fix it. You cannot sell a small piece of your house to pay the mechanic. Selling a house takes months. A standard bank savings account, on the other hand, is highly liquid. You can access that money immediately.
Got it. So why is this concept of liquidity so vital?
Because financial shocks, unexpected medical bills, a broken water heater, a sudden job loss are a guaranteed fact of life. Yet, people are shockingly unprepared to handle them. The Vanguard data reveals a terrifying statistic. 57% of working-age Americans are uncertain if they can come up with just $2,000 in a month to handle an emergency.
That is deeply alarming. A major car repair or a trip to the emergency room can easily exceed $2,000 in a single day, let alone a month.
Exactly. And the cascading consequences of not having that liquid cash are severe. Vanguard's research shows that when a household experiences a financial shock, it typically ends up draining a total of $4,000 from their overall wealth over time.
Wait, if the emergency only costs $2,000, why do they end up losing $4,000 in wealth?
Because of the compound math of high-interest debt. If you do not have liquid cash sitting in a bank account, you are forced to put that $2,000 emergency onto a high-interest credit card.
Oh, and then the interest hits.
Right, because your budget is already tight, you can only afford to make the minimum payments. The interest starts compounding at 20% or 25%. Over the years it takes to pay it off, you end up paying the credit card company thousands of dollars in interest. The original crisis metastasizes.
So what's the lesson?
The absolute baseline lesson here is that you must keep at least half a month to a full month of your living expenses in safe, perfectly liquid cash.
So step one is building that liquid cash cushion to absorb the shocks. But as we get older, as we progress in our careers and hopefully make a little more money, we face a completely different, almost invisible enemy. It is a phenomenon called lifestyle creep. The experts at Synchrony Bank provided some excellent analysis on this.
Lifestyle creep is incredibly insidious because it happens so slowly you barely notice it. Typically, your 30s, 40s, and 50s are your peak earning years. You gain experience, you get promotions, your salary goes up.
Which sounds great.
It is great. But for a vast majority of people, as their income goes up, their spending slowly, automatically inflates to match it perfectly.
I like to think of lifestyle creep like running on a treadmill. You keep running faster as you earn more, but you aren't actually moving forward in terms of saving. Or like a gas expanding to fill whatever container you put it in.
I like that gas analogy.
Yeah, if your income is a small glass jar, you fit your life into it. You have roommates, you cook at home, you drive an old car, but when you get a massive raise, your jar gets bigger. And immediately your spending expands to fill the new space. Suddenly you need your own apartment, you need a newer car, you start ordering expensive takeout.
That is a brilliant analogy. The expanding gas perfectly describes the psychology of relative wealth. You start comparing yourself to a new peer group. And the danger is, if you let your spending expand to fill every single raise you ever get, you will reach retirement age having earned millions of dollars over your lifetime, but possessing almost zero actual saved wealth.
Which is terrifying.
It is. To fight this natural expansion, you cannot rely on willpower. You need a structured, rigid framework to follow.
Which brings us to the two big heavyweight champions of financial frameworks. In our sources, analyzed by the Retirement Prof, we have a deep breakdown of two incredibly popular checklist-style financial plans. The first is Dave Ramsey's famous baby steps, and the second is a system created by the money guy called the Financial Order of Operations, or the FOO.
These two frameworks are fascinating to compare because they take totally different approaches to human behavior. Let's look at Dave Ramsey's baby steps first. This plan is aggressively simple and is almost entirely focused on human psychology, not mathematics.
How does it work?
The core of his method is to save a tiny $1,000 starter emergency fund quickly and then turn all of your financial energy toward paying off all of your debt, from smallest balance to largest, except your mortgage.
So he wants you to pay off your credit cards, your car loans, and your student loans completely to zero before you even start putting a dime into a retirement investment account.
Exactly. You attack the debt with everything you have.
Okay, I have to push back hard on this. Let's just look at a basic spreadsheet. Say I have a car loan with a very low interest rate, maybe 3%. Why in the world would I take my extra $1,000 a month and pay off a cheap 3% loan instead of putting that money into an index fund in the stock market where historically I might earn an 8% or 10% return? Mathematically, by following Ramsey, I am literally losing money.
You are absolutely correct on the math. On a spreadsheet, paying off low-interest debt instead of investing is mathematically suboptimal. But the financial analysts looking at Ramsey's method point out a profound truth. Personal finance is only about 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior.
Behavior over math.
Yes. Ramsey's method is built on the reality that humans are emotional creatures.
So the math doesn't matter if you can't stick to the plan.
Precisely. The emotional freedom, the deep psychological peace of mind that comes with having literally zero monthly payments is incredibly powerful. It eliminates financial anxiety. Furthermore, having no debt gives people a massive amount of life flexibility.
How so?
Well, if you have no car payment and no student loan, you have the freedom to take a risk, to change to a lower paying but happier career, or to start a small business. You can do that because you don't have the heavy chain of debt dragging you down every month.
Okay, I can respect the behavioral psychology angle. Giving someone small emotional wins keeps them motivated. But what about the other framework? What is the Financial Order of Operations by the money guy?
The money guy framework is designed for the person who wants to optimize the math. It is slightly more complex. In this system, you prioritize getting any free money first. So if your employer offers a match on your retirement contributions, you invest enough to get that match before doing anything else.
Right, because an employer match is essentially 100% immediate return on your money. You'd be crazy to skip that.
Exactly. After that, you pay off high-interest debt like credit cards because the interest rates are toxic. But here is the major divergence from Ramsey. In the FLO system, you leave low-interest debt, like a cheap student loan or a mortgage, for the very final stages of your life plan.
So under this plan, I could be aggressively investing 25% of my income into the stock market for retirement, building massive wealth, while perfectly happy to slowly pay the minimum on a student loan for 10 or 15 years.
That is exactly right. Because, as you pointed out earlier, the math dictates that your investments growing at 8% or 10% will outpace the 3% interest accumulating on that low interest debt over a long timeline.
It seems like it really just comes down to knowing your own personality. Are you an emotional spender who needs the psychological safety of zero debt? Follow Ramsey. Are you a highly disciplined spreadsheet nerd who won't panic when the stock market dips? Follow the money guy.
Exactly. Both frameworks are vastly better than having no plan at all. You just have to choose the one that you can stick with for decades.
And this idea of long-term thinking leads us beautifully into some timeless wisdom from our final sources. Morgan Housel, the author of a brilliant book called The Psychology of Money, has some insights that tie everything we've talked about today: happiness, cashless spending, and planning into one unified theory.
Housel is fantastic because he forces us to challenge our basic assumptions about what it means to be successful. He makes a profound, almost counterintuitive point. He says that wealth is what you don't see.
That sounds like a riddle. If I can't see it, how do I know it's wealth?
Think about how our society judges success. You are walking down the street, and a guy drives past you in a screaming red $100,000 Ferrari. Our immediate instinctual thought is, wow, that guy is wealthy. But Housel points out a glaring logical flaw.
What's the flaw?
The only factual piece of data you actually know about that person's finances is that they currently have $100,000 less in their bank account than they did before they bought the car. Or worse, they have $100,000 in new debt.
So we are confusing spending money with having money.
Precisely. True wealth is the invisible stuff. Wealth is the unbought cars. It is the first-class upgrades you declined. It is the money sitting quietly in an investment portfolio. Wealth is not a pile of shiny objects. Wealth is the financial options, the security, and the flexibility that you have accumulated by choosing not to spend.
I absolutely love that. It totally flips the script on status. He also challenges another piece of very normal financial advice. Usually, experts tell you to save money for a specific goal, like I'm saving for a down payment on a house, or I'm saving for a new car. But Housel argues that you should save money without having any specific goal in mind at all. Why save just to save?
Because the world is fundamentally unpredictable. If you only save for a car and then a medical emergency happens, your plan is ruined. Housel argues that the most valuable thing money can ever buy is not an object, and it's not even an experience. It is flexibility and control over your own time.
Buying time.
Yes. If you have a large pile of savings with no specific goal attached to it, you have bought yourself the ultimate luxury, which is options. You have the flexibility to walk away from a toxic boss and wait 6 months for a great job opportunity. You can handle a sudden, massive life change without panicking.
So it's like a buffer.
Exactly. When you save without a goal, you are essentially buying a shield against the unpredictability of life. You are buying freedom.
And looking at our sources from Reddit, we found a perfect, hilariously simple summary of all this deep philosophical planning. In a massive thread asking users for their absolute best financial tips, the most upvoted piece of advice beating out complex investing strategies and tax loopholes was simply 5 words: live below your means.
It is almost frustratingly simple, but those 5 words contain the entire secret to building wealth. It doesn't matter if you make $50,000 a year or $500,000 a year. If you always make sure that your expanding gas of lifestyle spending is smaller than the container of your income, you will inevitably build security.
There was also a fantastic story in that same Reddit thread that highlights this perfectly. It was about Jack Bogle. For those who don't know, he was a legendary investor and the founder of the massive investment company Vanguard. The story goes that a young man recognized Bogle sitting on a bench reading a newspaper.
I love this story.
Yeah, the young man went up to him and asked, "Mr. Bogle, if you were me and had $5,000, what would you do with it?" And Bogle, this billionaire financial genius, just looked over his glasses and said, "I did not get to where I am by giving people like you advice."
It is a very funny, slightly grumpy story, but it cuts to a deep truth. It highlights the fact that there is no magical secret tip that the ultra-rich are hiding from the rest of us.
There is no shortcut.
None. It always comes back to the boring, unsexy basics. Save consistently, actively fight lifestyle creep, understand the psychological traps of digital spending, and live below your means.
So, to summarize this deep dive for you, the listener, and bring all these threads together, when you are out there spending your hard-earned money trying to buy happiness, try to aim for those mixed purchases. Look for things that combine physical utility with the ability to create memories, like the paddleboard, or things that remove daily pain, like a great mattress.
And be careful how you pay.
Yes, when you are paying for those things, be highly, highly aware of the invisible, frictionless traps of digital payments and buy now, pay later schemes. Your brain wants to ignore the pain of paying, so you have to force yourself to pay attention. Make sure you build a liquid cash cushion for those inevitable emergencies so they don't derail your life. And finally, choose a financial plan, whether you need the psychological comfort of Dave Ramsey or the mathematical perfection of the money guy that helps you sleep peacefully at night.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, money, at its core, is not about acquiring a mountain of physical things. It is simply a tool. And when it is understood and used correctly, it is a tool that allows you to control your own time, protect your autonomy, and steer your own destiny.
I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to chew on. We talked at length today about how fast physical cash is disappearing and how our spending data is becoming completely digitized and tracked. In the very near future, what happens when artificial intelligence becomes advanced enough to automatically manage our personal budgets?
That's a wild thought.
Right. What if your AI bank app actively blocks your digital payment at the register when you try to buy a 4th pair of shoes you don't need, simply because the machine knows your financial goals better than your own impulsive brain does? Will we welcome this as the ultimate frictionless financial safety net? Or will we fiercely rebel against a machine taking away our fundamental human freedom to make our own financial mistakes?
That is a profound question about the future intersection of technology and our financial autonomy. It is definitely something we will have to face sooner rather than later.
Something for you to think about the next time you effortlessly tap your phone to pay for a coffee. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep learning. See you next time.